Part 7. At noon, I got to the South Bus Station, planning to catch a long-distance bus to Shanghai. But it was too late. So I hired a taxi on the spot to rush to Hongqiao Airport for my 6 p.m. flight. The ride cost me 1,200 yuan. My ex-wife saw the bank transfer on her phone and texted to ask what I'd bought. I told her I spent it on gifts to help her network for a job and that I was going out of town to butter up some officials. She believed me without question. I drifted through the security checkpoint like a ghost, then sat at the gate with my mind completely blank. One wrong step, and everything unraveled. I kept thinking how I'd managed to screw up a winning hand this badly. Once I walked through that gate, there would be no turning back, no parents, no friends, no home. A line from an old song kept echoing in my head, one I first heard in the game The Legend of Sword and Fairy, *, I am on the other side of the world. Funny how a lyric can sound like a prophecy. At the duty-free shop, I bought 2 cartons of Chunghwa cigarettes for 80 yuan each. Then I locked myself in the smoking room and chain-smoked both packs. The air got so thick I couldn't even see my own hands. When I put out the last cigarette, I took one deep breath, steadied myself, and boarded the plane. Oddly enough, once I stepped beyond the border, I felt a kind of relief. The 13-hour overnight flight to Los Angeles passed without sleep. By the time I landed, it was afternoon. For some reason, instead of catching my connecting flight to San Francisco, I just walked straight out of customs. Outside the airport didn't look like much gray skies, no sunlight, everything dull. Still, I needed somewhere to crash. I took a cab and told the driver, Chinatown. I hadn't done any real research, just assumed every Chinatown in the world was where new Chinese immigrants gathered and settled down. The ride cost $50, and when we arrived, the place looked even worse than I'd imagined. The streets were nearly empty, half the shops closed. Dragging my suitcase in one hand and holding my briefcase in the other, I wandered around looking for a motel. Using my old Redmi phone and Google Maps, I finally found one. The owner, a woman, was in the courtyard, cigarette dangling from her lips, playing mahjong. I asked if she had a room. She didn't even look up, just said, "No vacancies." That really pissed me off. I checked the local Chinese community website on my phone and finally learned that the main Chinese area in Los Angeles wasn't Chinatown at all, it was Monterey Park. No wonder the streets here felt deserted. I had always thought Chinese people loved gathering in busy places, surrounded by restaurants and shops. This Chinatown felt like a ghost town. Still stung from the cab fare, I decided to save some money and take the bus instead. I dragged my suitcase for more than half an hour before finding a stop, then got on the Orange Line 70 bus. Afraid I'd Mississippi my stop, I kept staring at the moving blue dot on Google Maps as the bus crept along the route. Finally, I reached Dingpangsa Plaza. And one thing I quickly learned: the buses here are old school. If you don't pull the cord hanging by the window a few minutes before your stop, the driver won't stop at all unless someone's waiting to get on. Real vintage stuff.